And the reason why I'm repeating that is because, of course, we're going live. We're doing a live stream on the YouTube, and I hope you all are looking at it because here we go. We got a nice show for you today. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like I said, we got the man here today. Another I don't know, technical engineer. Our technical engineer, Serge. Serge from Uptown. That's with a U instead of an E. Okay, and it's me. I be Keith, and it's be the B-roll, as you know. So let's go. Let's see what we got going, popping off today. As always, going to have a wonderful show. Some people say that I have an ego. I'm a little full of myself, but I think they are wonderful shows. I got great engineers behind me, backing me, so, you know, it's a great show. I mean, I don't like some of y'all either. Where did that come from? I don't know. It's the silent stuff, you know, saying out the quiet stuff loud. You know, Trumpish. I'm in my Trumpish mode. Yeah, everything's Trump. And people say, why are you always harping on Trump? Because Trump wants the attention. So we're going to give it to him. All of it. And I don't know, like some things people don't know, right? Like Project 2025, you ever heard of that? Look it up. That's the Trump agenda. And now he's trying to distance himself from that. But no, you don't get to do that on this watch. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. We're going to start off with a reminder, right? A PA was a PSA, public service announcement. PSA, mental health, mental health, right? Awareness, okay? Always be aware of that. If you see people who may be going through that stuff, and it's not like, oh, they had a bad day. No, it's like it's consistent, all right? Back in the days, we call that somebody went postal because he had issues. And that phrase was predicated on the incident that happened where somebody went in and he shut up the whole post office, killed multiple people, right? This was like 40 years ago. So that term, we found out the guy had little mental issues. A lot of these things happen with people with mental issues going on. And in this climate where you have a lot of negative information being put out there, some people just don't or cannot relate to the difference between reality and fantasy. All right? They get caught up on that stuff. And unlike the average person, they don't know how to stop when it's triggered. Okay? That's called mental, right? Some people can. Few people can't. Most people can. A few people can't. Okay? So we got to take that into consideration. Mental health issue. And there's something going on here, and I'm going to get some more information in the local Tampa Bay area, and I'll be putting that out just, you know, as a public service announcement part. Okay? I'm not getting paid for it. Why not? That's another story. But that's serious. I'm serious about that, right? Mental health issues, okay? If you see something, pay attention to it. Yeah. So now on to the show, the good part of the show. I'm going to start off with everybody's America's mental midget, the moron, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I wonder if I could say that. Well, that's opinion. I'm going to start off with somebody who made one of the dumbest things or do the dumbest things that you could think of to be an elected official. It's like, what? Nah, what? Is you serious? It did happen? What am I talking about? This past last couple of days, she put out a tweet talking about the average age of 8 people who signed the Constitution. You didn't hear that, right? You didn't hear about that, right? This is why I say mental midget, morons, and idiots, right? Who follow individuals like that. Okay, 6 of the names on there, and I didn't fact check it. Before I had a chance to fact check it, thousands of other people fact checked it. Okay, and a couple was like, "Hold up, dude. First of all, they ran off 6 names, right? Like Monroe, Washington, some other name that nobody ever heard about in history, James Madison, and a couple other people, right? I was like, no, hold up, those people didn't do it. First of all, this person was too young. Whoever they had, like an 18-year-old that signed it, a 20-year-old, right? And they said, hold up, these people couldn't have signed it because they were busy fighting the war, right? They were still in the infantry or whatever, and still part of the military. George Washington was still leading the army, so that's before the first president was elected, because we all know that George Washington was the first president, right? So they're like, hold on, this is 6 people that wasn't in there, okay? So nobody fact checked this woman until they fact checked it, and then she looking like, the what? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They say things that just go out. It's like, where did they come from? Where in the world did that information come from? And it happens often when I'm talking to somebody and they come up and they go with the boogeyman. They bring up the boogeyman, and they can't tell you where the information came from. Because one or two reasons: either they just don't know, right, or they know it's coming from a place that's not reliable, a source that's not reliable, which is pretty much they're making stupid statements, right? Yeah, talking points. That's what they call talking points, right? So that's what happened. Margaret Taylor Greene came out and she was fact checked, and it turned out that 6 of the people couldn't have done it, and she was because they're harping on Joe Biden's age. Well, let me tell you something. I'd rather have a old, wise, smart person leading the way than a pathological, narcissistic dummy. I mean, there's no other way. There's no other way to describe the guy. I mean, when I say dummy, I'm talking about Donald Trump. Saying that the guy is despicable and he's a liar, mass liar is crazy. The guy lied over 30,000 times when he was president. 30,000 made 30,000 false and misleading statements as president. People fact checked all that stuff all the time he was saying it. And I don't care. That's what the morons and the idiots and the morons say. I don't care. You want to support somebody or individuals who use Christianity as a prop. They literally use Christianity as a prop. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, me personally, I'm calling them out on it. I'm calling them out on it because it's one simple fact. It's ridiculous. Margaret Taylor Greene. See, you want to keep throwing up Christianity. This is a woman who had, like I said, was researched and reported as having 3 adulterous affairs while she was married. Well, 2 of them we know of. But as soon as she got divorced, guess what? She went to a 3rd person. So you telling me that she wasn't doing anything? Well, the other guy she's doing something with it, but not that guy. Not that guy. Right? So when you look at this and you see these people, Margaret Taylor Greene, who's basically a dummy. The woman knows nothing about politics. She talks, just because you talk a lot, don't make you bright, don't make you smart. I'll give an example. Somebody once was saying something, I was taking a class, and they were saying something, but they were getting all the wrong information. I'm like, whoa. And then I spoke, and I said, look, this is how I interpret that. This is what works when you want to address that issue, right? And that's all I was saying. And then one day the guy just snapped. The person that was getting out all the information just snapped. Well, nobody want to hear what you got to say. Nobody, you're always talking, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hold up. I don't interrupt you while you're talking, and I sure enough don't raise my voice at you. I don't scream. So maybe you want to take it down a couple notches. And then he made a ridiculous, like a threatening motion. I made a very simple statement. I said, look, because somebody else got on my case about this. I said, look, if you don't want people to know you're stupid, Stop saying stupid and doing stupid things. Hello. Just because when you're in that environment and they nourish that stuff, there's another term that totally loses. You could think of another term, Judge? No? Well, anyway, when you are in that position, and they are nourishing that type of lack of intellectual capability, right? Then it gets exposed when you come out and you end up in an environment where, there are people that actually know what they're talking about and living in the real world, right? In the real world, right? Oh, enablers. Enablers. That's a term somebody just reminded me of earlier. Enablers. People enable this behavior, okay? They enable Marjorie Taylor Greene's behavior, her antics, her ranting, her raving, and she's speaking what? She's talking up, but she's not making any sense. And when she do say something, it is totally what? Wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's misleading, or it's false. And if you don't correct it, then you are enabling this individual. Does that make sense? I mean, think about it. Does that make sense? If you don't say anything, then you're enabling it. When you're in a position to address it, to check it, to try and correct it. All right, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. If she was, oh my God, if she was a tenth as smart as she thinks she is, she'd be normal, because she thinks she's the smartest thing on the world, on the planet. She does. She thinks she's a genius. She's a genius among geniuses. She's a super genius. That's who they should have had on that television show. They should have had her in there, right? Because that's how intelligent she is. But she comes up and does something stupid like this. She literally wrote this. I think it was William Taft. Was it Taft? In the mid-1900s, somebody wrote a letter. One of the presidents wrote the letter, and there was like 6 errors in there, and they called him the dumbest president ever. Dude, what? That's why people write, when the president wants to say things or whatever, people write it out for the president. He's got writers. So they let him know, this is right, that's wrong. Can't put this in. No, that's not grammatically correct. No, especially when they're going to put a document that's going to go out. Because once that document goes out, believe it or not, that document is ready to go into the archives. That document is ready to go into the archives. You could write on the president could write something on a paper towel, a napkin. Guess what? That napkin with that presidential writing on there goes into the archive. As soon as the president leaves, if it's still there and you haven't flushed it or whatever, it goes into the archive. Same thing with the vice president. Vice presidents, when they take their notes and so on and so forth, and they leave office with these notes, if people say, okay, well, where'd you take the notes at? Well, on this notepad. Okay, where's the notepad? Well, I took it home with me. It's in my desk. I'm the lock and key. Guess what? We got to see that, sir, or ma'am. We have to see that, because now that documentation, it becomes a valid document. It becomes a valid document. Does that make sense? So when you get somebody like a Marjorie Taylor Greene who does stuff like this, make these ridiculous, dumb, boneheaded statements, and nobody calls on it, then they're enabling her. And it's a doozy. Look online. You know what? Check out Occupy Democrats, right? They did something on, they were showing it how, blah, 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 how she wrote this thing, and Twitter, and people just responded, and they and they're just giving her a good time. They're giving her a good time because these are the people who thinks they are the smartest people. These are the fake elites. Actually, they're not fake elites. Yeah, they're the basement bottom elites. Because a lot of people like to say, oh, elites, they're elitists. When they say elitist, you automatically think liberal. But no, that's not what elitist is. An elitist is anyone involved in a group who believes that their group is more superior. Being part of their group makes you more superior than everybody else. Okay, that's what elite. That's what the elitists are. That's who elitists are. That's what elite is about. Okay, so yeah, I would recommend for you to look at that email that she sent out or whatever it was. That tweet. It's a tweet. Or is it a Zik? Did they change tweets to Zik because they changed it from Twitter to X, or what is it? Twitter? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Democrats, you're losing elections because you're too wussy. You're too nice. You're too nice. These people give you all the stuff in the world to fight with, to win with. And you say, oh, no, I don't want to do that because it's not nice. So then don't ask me for no money to support your nice campaign. I want to support a campaign of somebody who want to go out there and actually want to win. Does that make sense? If you're willing to win, if you want to win, I got no problem with supporting you. Look, the MAGA, they got no problem supporting their candidates, even though their candidates are the worst thing to walk around on the planet Earth in politics. They want to take, they're taking politics back 40, 50, 60, 70 years, 80, 90, 100 years. They're taking it back, all the way back to the time where conservatism had strong roots. And you know what conservatism was about? It was about the Constitution being overturned. Okay? Do not get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. That's why the same people can support Donald Trump, who's talking about overturning the Constitution, burning the Constitution, basically, the birth certificate, our nation's birth certificate, because that's what the Constitution is. That's our nation's birth certificate. And then go out and celebrate the 4th of July every year. The birth of the nation, the birth of America, the birth of the United States. Every year, and at the same time, they're talking about overthrowing it. What? What? Explain this to me. Democrats. And you sit back and say, oh, that's okay, that's your right. Hold up, you looking to win? You looking to win a campaign, or just get funding from me so you can go into retirement or whatever, go into your next stage of life? If you want that, no disrespect to anybody who want to send you money, no, that's up to them. If you want that, fine. As far as I'm concerned, go get your GoFundMe page, because I'm not going to fund you if you're not going to win. And if you want to know what it takes to win, there are many sources that you can see. There's many things you can run on besides abortion. Is that a great topic? Yeah. But there are other things. You can run on the economy. You can run on the inflation being low. You can run on our nation being the #1 nation recovering. You can run on by disputing all the lies and miseducation, the misinformation and narratives that's being placed out there. You can run on all this stuff. You can run on a dozen things easily. Yeah, the recovery, lower drug costs. There's things that you can run on and just hit people with. You can run against their record. You can run against the people who you're looking to be. You can run against their records, especially the incumbents who have been voting religiously against everything that has been moving our country forward, and bringing us back to our status as being the #1 nation in the world, on the planet. China's a wreck. Russia is a wreck. Other than that, who else is there? What major nation is there? America has recovered greater than every other first world, second world, third world country and nation on this planet. We're leading the way. Job recoveries, nearly 16 million people recovered their jobs. Wages is outpacing inflation. You can run on all this stuff. There's dozens of things you can run on. But you want to run on abortion. That's about as dumb as you can get. And then on top of that, Mr. and Mrs. Nice Person, you know what's going to happen? They're going to start name calling. Oh, they're fascists, they're pedos, and all these other, they're communists and stuff like that. But they support communists. They love Putin. They actually taking a poll. They was taking a poll of these guys, and they were saying, you know what? These MAGA people said, I'd vote for Putin before I vote for Biden. That sounds like a freaking communist to me. Fascist. Oh, no. No. Trump should have all the power. What? You mean the president, right? No, Trump. No. The president. It's the president. So when the Supreme Court did what it did, and I'm going to talk about that later, when the Supreme Court did what it did, right? By making the comment that they made, they didn't really do anything but restate what we already knew. The president does not have absolute power, absolute immunity. And that's what they said. In the act of doing your duty, right? In the act of doing your duty. But what they did do was they opened up the door for, if he should be prosecuted, for him to appeal to the Supreme Court. You see what I'm saying? Now he can appeal to the Supreme Court. If he goes into Washington and he actually goes to trial for the January 6th and all that other stuff he did in Washington, if he goes to court and he loses, he can appeal to the Supreme Court, which will then take it into the next year. Going to Judge Cannon, right? If he wins, or if he loses in Cannon, if federal prosecution for the records, if he gets prosecuted for that, guess what? He can appeal. It goes to the Supreme Court, and they push it to after the election. The only place where he's really like screwed at is, well, New York. In the campaign finance case. People like to downplay, it's only hush money, it wasn't nothing, blah, blah. No, it's not about that, all right? Democrats, and you won't even bring that up. Matter of fact, you won't even mention Trump. You're stupid. You're stupid because there's no way in the world I could run and not mention Donald Trump. When every time they open their mouth, your competitors, your competition is talking about Joe Biden. But you won't even mention Donald Trump. And you want my money just so you can go campaign on getting abortion? Nah. Look, I'm not trying to belittle that subject, but you got a whole lot more stuff that you can run on and add to that. All right? Because I'm telling you, as sure as the sun comes up and sets, they are going to bring up, when they are not winning, fascism, fascists, tyrants, all that stuff. You're communists, pedos, even though recently, I don't know if y'all been watching, but recently, and this is why I'm going to say that Ron DeSantis is, I'm pretty sure he's not Donald Trump's, he's not Donald Trump's pick for vice president. And here's why. Because just recently, I think last week, he released the Jeffrey Epstein documents, court documents. Because remember, they have been sealed for what, decades? For decades. I think since 2003, 2007, somewhere. It's like for like 20 years. Nearly 20 years. They've been sealed. And Ron DeSantis just approved for them to be released. And guess what? Donald Trump's name is all over the stuff. His name is mentioned like 40 times. I have to see the documents. But from credible sources, people who normally do their research, like a Midas Touch, right? They're lawyers, and they get these legal documents and they break them down. Donald Trump's name has been mentioned 40 times. They're saying that it's mentioned 40 times in those documents, 40 times or more. So I tend to lean that way. I do. But they're going to call you a pedophile and a groomer when his bestie was the godfather of all of that stuff in America, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? So you won't even bring that up. You just sit there and let them, like, people won't believe them. Yeah. If you don't challenge it, they will. So let's move on to the Biden-Trump debate. Trump is all in this stuff, right? Yeah, I told you. I mean, this guy just does so much stuff. He just does so much stuff. I don't know if you saw the debate that Thursday. Was it not this past Thursday? Thursday before? And they had the debate. And Joe Biden didn't come off looking good. He didn't. Came out looking tattered, right? Tattered. But what people were not saying, and this is what the news and the fake stream media, let's stop calling it mainstream media and call it for what it is, the fake stream media. It's no different than the wrong-wing media, which is, where the conservatives are, conservative media outlets or area side of the branch, right? They're no different. They're all fake. They're all fake. They keep asking Biden, well, are you going to drop out? A lot of people are saying, you're too old and blah, 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 blah. And he already answered that question. He's answered it. He said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to let 90 minutes define what I've accomplished over the last 3.5 years. So get off of it. I'd rather have an older, wiser, not as physically quick or fit person in the White House than a moron, a thief, a liar. One of the most compromised presidents ever. One of the most compromised political figures ever. And he's running for the president. A criminal, a felon, 34 felons. What do you think the 34 felons? It shouldn't even be a question. What do you think about the 34 felons? You should be asking him, why is he not dropping out? Because he is a felon with 34, he's a felon 34 times over. That's what the question was. But y'all not asking him that question. Y'all continually ask Joe Biden. And he keeps saying, look, finally, he's going to stop answering you. He's just going to stop responding to you. Shut up. Don't whine that he's not answering when you keep asking the same stupid question over and over again. That's right, you, Mrs. Fake Stream Media, because that's what you are. You're not mainstream, you're fake. You're pretending to be on the high moral ground when you are nowhere near it. You continue to push this fake narrative while you're ignoring the things that people should know about. And that is what? The Epstein papers, the Epstein documents that Donald Trump is in, that inundates it. You should be researching that to see if it's true. Because like I said, the people who put it out there is really very highly credible. Really very highly credible. But you don't want to touch that. You don't want to touch the fact that the story that just the other day when he was, the plane was landed in, his plane was sitting in one of those states that he was going for his latest failing campaign stops. While his plane was sitting there, or or was it his daughter? I forget one of them. And the Russian embassy, right, is sitting right next to it. No, that's not a red flag. That's not even a yellow flag. Oh, well, what do you think, President Biden, when you get all these Democrats? And it's not all these Democrats. It's a couple people who, if you didn't mention their name and say they were Democrats, I wouldn't even know about them. Nobody would know about them. You mention somebody from Texas, somebody, oh, this Texas, this Democrats, blah, 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 and nobody knows who this person is. And then you talk about somebody else, who mentioned something on CNN. Well, he's too old, but people are asking that question from who? One of Donald Trump's former members, cabinet members? Are you serious? It comes down to reality. And the reality is that you guys are fake. You're fake. Fake stream media. And the fact that Bill Moyer is starting to come up and say, starting to make a push to address certain things. Well, you know what? Hold on for a second, people. Because about this time, somebody always try and contact me. And I'm like, why are you trying to contact me? You know that, I'm busy. I'm getting busy. And they contact me when I'm like in a row, like just now. So I nip that in the bud. Like I said, Bill Moyer was the one who started all that old stuff. Yes, Bill Moyer. Just like Bill Moyer was the one who gave Bernie Sanders a platform. And then after a while, him and Jon Stewart from The Daily Show realized that, hold up, Bernie's not really, I can't identify with that. Once the snowball was pushed down the mountain and it's building up. Fake stream media. Why don't you ask Donald Trump some questions, some real questions? Some real questions. Polls. Who taking these polls? Who's taking the polls? I don't know. Who? Well, they took okay, who are they polling? Where are they polling? Thank you. Let's move on with that. The debate. 30, like more than 20 lies, but no fact checks. It was one of the worst. I said we'll move on, but hold up. It was one of the weirdest, not just worst, one of the weirdest debates I've ever seen. And I've been watching debates since Ronald Reagan. Since 1980, I've been watching debates. From when he debated Jimmy Carter. And then he debated, who was it? Walter Mondale? Mondale? Yeah. I've been watching debates for over 40 years. And it's the weirdest one I ever seen in my life. No fact checking. Ask a question, then the candidate don't answer correctly, and you keep moving on. Leaving it at a lie. Knowing that it was a lie, and you continue to move. That is what? Fake stream media. That's how they operate. That they do it for the clicks. And Donald Trump knows this. He knows it, and he plays it, and he plays it. He gets the most advertising than anybody else because the fake stream media enables them. It gives it to them. That's what happened with Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump may have put a couple $100 million in his campaign, but because of the stuff he was doing, the fake stream media gave him over $2.5 billion worth of advertising, $2.5 billion of media coverage, $2.5 billion. But now it's not looking so, it's not looking so good now. And you never ask him if he's cognitively capable of doing the job when he makes some of the most stupidest, asinine statements that anybody could make. He was talking about I'll give you an example. I brought this up before. Donald Trump, no, Joe Rogan. Y'all probably heard about him. Call him the Joe Rogan Experience, right? I can mention his name. I can say what happened. I just don't remember the episode, but you can look it up. There was an episode where he, not too long ago, where he had, Joe Rogan has guests on there. So he had a guest on there, the flavor of the month in the MMA, the MMA organization that he's affiliated with. Flavor of the month on there, and Joe Rogan's like, yeah, did you hear the thing about how Biden said that the reason why the George Washington didn't win the war, we had a problem and in a war and stuff like that was because the airports were not finished. The airports were not in good condition. And then the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, yeah, nobody like that should be near the button. They should be in the White House. They should not be in that position of authority. Right? And then the guy, his man Friday goes, hold up. Biden didn't say that. Joe Rogan goes, I'm sorry, what? He goes, no, Biden didn't say that. Biden said it. He repeated what Donald Trump said. And then they played what Donald Trump said. And what did Donald Trump say? Oh, the reason why George Washington was because the airports was in disrepair. It wasn't working. The airports wasn't finished. In the War of Independence. Donald Trump said it. So they went from saying, hey, whoever said this, that's what they said. Whoever said this, whoever said something like this should not be in the White House and shouldn't be president to, he effed up and moved on. When they found out that Donald Trump said it, whole different level of energy. All right? Fake stream media. Because Joe Rogan, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, is a big media, has a big media presence, especially in the YouTube verse, and now actually on multiple platforms now. On multiple platforms. I think he did $100 million deal with someone with Reddit or someone, one of those organizations. So he has a big streaming presence. Think about that. Think about that. So, but do they ask Donald Trump about these things when he has these cognizant things, when he be waving at crowds? Yeah. But there's nobody there. There's literally nobody there. When they do it and they do it the Fox News or the Post or whatever, and they show him doing that to all his fans, but when they do the wide angle, when they do a zoom angle or wide angle, and you see there's nobody there. Who was he waving at? He did it when he came out of the courts in New York. He did it multiple times, a couple times when he was on his plane, boarding his plane. He did it at the end of one of his events. There's nobody there. Unlike the one where the Post and Fox News is running, the one with Joe Biden just standing there looking out, like he's looking out in the air. But when you do a wide angle, like CNN, give them credit for that, but nah, that don't justify all the stupid stuff that CNN be doing. CNN showed it. The actual unedited version. And you see President Biden with about behind him, about 15, 20 world leaders, and a parachuter. And the parachute, you can't see the parachute wires, but the parachute is like in that direction where he's looking with individuals who are folding the parachutes, and he was talking to them. He was talking to them, and they may look like, oh, he's lost, or he's an embarrassment, blah, 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 until they saw the big picture and they saw the fake scam, right? So let's move on. You got the church incident. I don't know if y'all seen the church incident this weekend. President Biden was at a black church in Pennsylvania, and Donald Trump was at a church somewhere. I don't know, some some part of the world, and so you see a lot of it was a black church, and so you see, I don't know if you the opulent style black church with the two tiers, like it could be like in the background and stuff like that, the horns and stuff like that. The horn, what's that? The instrument, the one that you play, the piano. It's not a piano; it's a big one, right? With the big horns, right? So, and you see them. It's a black congregation. A couple white people in there. A few empty seats, right? A few empty seats. I think it was just a pop up. It was just a pop up thing. But everybody said, yeah. And they talk about, are you glad to be here in church? Blah, blah, blah. They're black, all right? It's black church. Love, right? Jesus, right? Jesus is there. Boom, you see it. And Joe Biden basically talks, as a people, we're good, unity and all this stuff, and love thy brother and all this, right? And then they show the one where Donald Trump went to a church. And he's up at the pulpit. Now, mind you, you can't see everybody's there. But he mentions, in front of all the little kids, I don't want to say this in front of the kids, especially with the kids here. And He stand up there behind the podium. He goes, I don't want to say about these things, I don't want to say it's bull blab. Hey, bull blab. He just says the word. I don't want to call it bull blab. And then you hear the crowd, they start chanting, bull blab, bull blab, bull blab. And they're chanting, they're laughing, in a church, they're doing this. It's like, what the are you doing? That's what they hate. They love him so much. They got so much adulation that they would adulation towards this man that they would defame the church. I could just imagine what the other congregants or the actual congregants there are saying or feeling. Because I can pretty much assure you that the bunch of people there, they were not congregants of that church. Because that's what he do. He goes and he brings his crowd with him. It's like the church that was in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. He went to the church, right? The black church. And it's like people, black people are supporting Trump. Yeah. But when you look at the church that only can cater to about 250 people, well, they claim thousands of people was in there. When you look at the actual church, when they zoom out, you see all white people in there. You see 97% white people. Of all the people there. The only black people basically are the ones that's up there sitting up there by the pulpit. They're the ones. And they are, get this, they're part of his congregation. Like 80% of the people that was up there on the stage was part of his congregation. Or the people who follow him around. The blacks for Trumps. The black for Trump. And then in the back, in the crowd, 97% of them, white, MAGA, literally MAGA, with MAGA hats on, MAGA shirts, and all that stuff. Yeah, MAGA. That's Trump for you. And religion. That's what he thinks about religion. Does that sound crazy? The black barbershop scene. Went to the black barbershop scene. It was staged. The guy, whatever, believe he signed some little agreement or a contract with him, the barbershop owner. But when the people found out about him, they said, yo, dude, we'll support you. The hood is like, yo, son, what? You brought that. They were like all on his case. He's like, well, look, I didn't know. He said, I didn't know. But then they putting out this information that, no, he signed a contract with us for us to come in there, and they staged this thing in Atlanta. The Atlanta barbershop, yeah, it was staged. Another scam. I'm not saying that Trump don't have black people voting for him and support him. And then look, you vote for and support whoever you want. I get it. But the bottom line is that these scams that he's putting forth, they're being blown up. And will the fake stream media report on this news? Because that's news. No, they will continue to promote some fake narrative. I don't care if Biden can't run a freaking 50-yard dash or even a 20-yard dash. I don't care. I know for a fact that the man knows how to get the job done because he was handed the second worst economy in the last 50 years. The worst economy in the worst economy in the last 50 years, without doubt, would be the Bush economy that he handed over, that Barack Obama and who else? Joe Biden inherited. That was the worst economy in the last 50 years. They turned it around and handed Donald Trump, what? The second best economy in the last 50 years. Up until this presidency, this term right here, in the last 3.5 years, the Obama-Biden presidency economy was the best in the last 50 years until recently. Until recently. Go figure. News ain't reporting that, right? The fake stream media is not reporting that, right? No. Oh, well, what do you think about all these Democrats that are coming out against you? And what about the polls? Look, I don't care about the polls. I don't care. That's just what I'm saying. Look, these polls, what do they really mean? I'll tell you what they mean. They mean that, some people not doing their job. With all the negative publicity that Biden's been getting over the last 3.5 years, even though just recently another jobs report came and added another 200,000 plus jobs to the economy when people predicted it'd be around 150, 160,000. Outdid it again. Biden for the last, 36, 37 months have constantly been outdoing the jobs report as reported by the fake stream media sources. Repeatedly outdoing it. I think if he's not 16 million, he's really close to creating $16 million jobs in the last 3.5 years. But again, I want to go back to what I said, why Democrats lose elections. Because y'all won't talk about this. So yeah, that's something that's going on right now. Fake stream media will not report that. They won't get on Trump case. They won't question one's lies. Okay, fine. But stop trying to dog out the president because that's what's affecting these polls. So let's move on with the church scam and all that other stuff. It's crazy. Let's talk about the Supreme Court. There's two parts about the Supreme Court. One is that their judgment or their dissent, what do you call that? Judgment, dissent. Them basically saying, the president has X amount of immunity while he's doing his job. In the sense of, doing his job, right? I mean, if the president says, okay, you know what? There's an issue over there. Somebody attacked us. We're at war. The generals go, they wipe out a village. And I hate to say this, and there's children are injured, maimed, killed. Well, because it's war and the president basically authorized for the war to go on, that's immunity, right? If he does something, he says, okay, well, we're going to redirect these funds from there and say something happened, blah, 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 then it was doing his duty. He thought this was the right way to do it, and so there's immunity, right? They didn't say that if he commit a crime, Like he said, I can walk on Fifth Avenue and kill somebody and not lose a vote. Well, if he walks up and kills somebody, is that because he's doing his duty, or because he was a political rival, or what? You see what I'm saying? They didn't say, they didn't give him uh, total immunity. No, they said during the course of doing his job, performing his duties, or the president, I should say, the president, because the president could be a he or she, right? It's just been he all for the last 250 years. So yeah, they get immunity for a lot of things, but not for not for out and out crimes. That's something that needs to be done in the court, right? That's something that should be done in the court. So that being the case, what did they do? They opened up the doorway for him to be able to appeal anything that would then push everything off to after the election. You see how that works? So if there was in Miami or whatever in Florida in the documents case, if he was to be found convicted, found guilty and convicted on that, then that stuff he'll appeal it and it'll go until after the election. In the thing with the January 6th case in Washington D.C., if he's found guilty, then he can appeal it and it'll go until after the election, right? No, nothing until after the election, right? How does that affect New York? I don't really know. I don't really know how it affects New York. Where he's already been convicted of 34 felons. Can he then appeal that to the Supreme Court? Or does it go to the state court? How does that work? But of course he's going to appeal it. And again, it's not hush money. It's not about hush money. And I brought this up as an example. Paula Jones, who Bill Clinton had an affair with, and they paid her off. Yeah, they literally paid off. This is normal business. This is stuff that's been going on, and this is what the fake news media and the wrong-wing media pretty much allow to fester. They pretty much allow this to continue to fester. This is normal business. It's not the first time that a politician has paid off a mistress or something or whatever. No, it's not the first time. It's the way he did it. He took the money from the campaign to reimburse Michael Cohen. That was the crime. You get what I'm saying? Not that he paid a blackmail, pay somebody off. It's how he went and did it. Here's a multi-billionaire. If I'm a multi-billionaire, for example, Bill Gates was sued by, I think, BlackBerry for infringing on their trademark or copyrights or whatever on something that they had. You know what BlackBerry did? They sued him for $2 billion and won. You know what Bill Gates, what Microsoft did? They gave him $2 billion and kept it moving. They just gave him $2 billion and kept it moving. What's $200,000 to a multi-billionaire when that might set you back? What's $200,000? It's nothing. So it's not the fact that he paid the money off, right? It's not the fact that he paid the porn star money, that hush money. That's not the problem. Hush money, that's right. That's hush money. It was how he paid off or reimbursed Michael Cohen. That's how he reimbursed Michael Cohen. How he reimbursed Michael Cohen. He took the money from the campaign to reimburse Michael Cohen. That's the felonies. That's where the 34 felonies came from, right? Campaign fraud. So I just want to finish with the Supreme Court, since we're on the Supreme Court. They need for Donald Trump to win. No, they legitimately need for Donald Trump to win. And here's why. They got so many issues. They got so many legal issues that they can be called in as individuals from their personal life that they need Donald Trump so that he can just wipe it away. No, he could just Clarence Thomas was taking kickback money from multiple billionaires. But I don't think it was just Clarence Thomas. He was the one that got busted. So did he file taxes on that money? Because you have to be full disclosure. You have to have full disclosure. If you are Supreme Court justice, if you anybody in that level, you have to have full disclosure. Did he disclose that whatever thousands of dollars, millions of dollars that he was getting in trips and whatever else, whatever the perks he was getting, kickback he was getting? If not, those are federal offenses. Yeah, you see how this is going? Why the Supreme Court really wants Donald Trump to win? Because they're pretty much safe. They're pretty safe. Unless of course he decides that no, I don't want y'all in there. I want y'all gone. I want you gone, Klein. It's past your time. I want one of my young guys that's going to be there for the next 40 years in there. You know, the Supreme Court really needs Donald Trump in office because of their potential legal entanglements. Wow. So I like to say, in conclusion of today's show, thank y'all very much for joining us. And this is the B-roll. And what can I say? How long I got? I don't know what he said. He's giving you all these sign language. I'm like, what am I, a gangbanger? It's like we're gangbangers over here. Like, what are you doing? About 30 seconds. 30 seconds, about 30 seconds. All right, we're going to wrap this up right now. Hit it. Cue it. Mr. Surge, again, thank you, Surge, for not falling asleep and knocking all the equipment over. Here we go, everybody. Let me close this out. My YouTube Ustream and end the stream on here, and boom. Your screen will stop immediately, and you will no longer be alive. Oh, no, be live. Be live, not be alive. Bye.